Hi and welcome back to the channel. Back for another live match. This time I'm at Izaak Walton for the first round of the individual Silverfish League. It's got loads of roach and loads of skimmers in this place. And it's cracking sport this time of year.
Did you tell him beggars can't be choosers?
It's still a bit mild, so the carp might be feeding, so we might catch a few carp in between, but hopefully we'll catch a load of silvers. Now I've drawn peg 22 on bottom pool. I'm happy with this peg. I've been on this peg before and won off it. Can't remember what weight I had, but I had a great day on roach and skimmers. That was early part of this year when it was still cold. So like I say, it's still quite mild now. Maybe we'll get pestered by carp, but we'll see. I've planned on feeding 4 lines. Short in front of me, where I'm going to just start throwing casters there at top 2 and 2.
Then let's have it.
The 13 metres directly in front of me, I'm going to put a ball of crushed expander, Sonia Bates crushed expander with casters in, and the line I'm feeding here to my left, which is at 14.5 metres, I'm feeding that with, again, Sonia Bates crushed expander with some micro pellets, chopped worm and casters in it. Now I'm planning on feeding this line by just cupping in little nuggets of ground bait. The line in front of me, I'm going to catapult casters constantly and hopefully draw some roaching. The plan with that left hand line is hopefully to catch some skimmers and bream, but we'll see. Now the fourth line is down to my right, just out from the edge, which is probably about 4.5 feet deep, and I'm just going to throw casters there. It's pretty much a throwaway line really, but it's something for me to try, and we might catch a few fish there. On my skimmer line, I'm fishing an 0.5 gram Kerry, which is a Preston float. It's a teardrop shaped body with a wire stem and a nylon bristle. And on this, I'm fishing a size 16 SFLB. And I've double bulked the shot, or stots, to show any lift bites. And like I said, I'm just going to feed loose casters in front of me on this line here. And hopefully at some point, the roach will come up in the water. I'm purposely not loose feeding on the left hand line. I just want to have 2 totally different lines and see which one is the best basically. Hook bait to start with is a tail of a Dandrobina worm, and I get a bite straight away. It's not a skimmer, it's a little roach. Intended species, well, one of the intended species. But nobody likes to see that. Trying to swing him in and he fell off. A couple of ounce fish. Never mind, there's plenty more where that come from, hopefully. Now the elastic I'm using these top kits today is Duraslip 5. I normally use Duraslip 7 this time of year, but when I went to change all my top kits, the elastic in my top kits, I went into my store to get some Duraslip 7s out and I hadn't got any. But I had got plenty of Duraslips 5, so I thought I'd give that a try. It's my second time of trying it, to be fair. When I first started changing my elastics over from hollows to slips, Duraslips, I did try the Duraslip 5 on some of my canal rigs. And I did think it was a little bit harsh at the time. Maybe the day I tried it, I was catching little roach and I thought it was a little bit harsh for them. But today, I'm fishing in deeper water. The fish are an average you know, a little bit better stamp on average. So we'll see how it goes. And I've got it in all of my top kits for today. We'll see how we go with it. And the rotation I've drawn, like I say, I'm on bottom pool. There's 7 pegs on this pool. I think somebody hasn't turned up there because there's only 6 of us on the pool, so we've all got plenty of room. And I'm looking around the pool and I'm thinking I've got quite a hard section to win, to be fair. There's some good anglers in my section. And there's a couple of anglers I feel that could push for the title come the end. So I've got to be on my best to stay in front of them. And that's a nice start, decent roach, 4 or 5 ounce, again on the tail of a Dendrobina worm. And that's just over that ball of Sonia Bates crushed expander with micro pellets, chopped worm, and a few casters mixed in. I'm not going to refeed anything yet. I'm just going to drop a worm back on there and go back out. See if there's any fish mulling over that ball I put in initially. I've got 2 pints of casters with me, so I've got to be a bit liberal. So I don't want to run out of bait by feeding too many lines. I'll keep to the 3 that I am feeding at the moment. I'm not giving them loads. I'm just keeping it nice and simple. Little bits, between 6 and 10 casters each time I feed. And there's another one. Feel like I'm off to a good start. Obviously, I prefer to be catching skimmers on this line, but I don't mind catching these quality roach. Like peas in a pod, same size as the last one. Ish, near enough. To be fair, I would have preferred to have used a size 14 SFLB on this rig because, like I say, I'm fishing worm and you can bury a size 14 hook into a worm, no problem at all. It just gives me that little bit more confidence when I'm striking into fish. But like I say, I've not got any tied up, so 16s it'll have to be. On my other rigs, which I'm planning on fishing single caster, are size 18 SFLBs, and all my hooks are tied to 010 AccuPower on all my rigs that I'm using today. And no bites on that time out, so I've put the pot on and I'm putting a little ball of ground bait, obviously with a few particles in it, to try and kickstart the peg again, drag something into it. I had to bear with the side camera for a while as it got a little condensation early in the match. It does clear up though once it starts warming up. So just plop the little ball in and lay the rigging behind it. I'm sitting here hoping that a skimmer will come into the peg. Or even a bream. There's some decent bream in this pool as well. The other pools in are middle and canal. And again, I think there's 6 anglers on each of those. So there are bites on that line after dropping that ball in again. So I'm going to go and have a look. on the line in front of me where I've been pinging those casters. Single caster on the hook and see what happens here. I said I was using Duraslip 5s. I'm using them through a full top kit, plus I'm using the side puller. So if I do hook any decent fish, I'll be able to strip the elastic and get it in range to net it. That's a nice start. As soon as it settles on my 13 metre line, it's down the hole and I'm into a decent roach. I've learned my lesson after that first one that dropped off. I'm going to be netting most of my fish today. With a decent roach again. In again. Going nice and steady. Everybody seems to be catching a few roach early doors. Not sure if they're catching the stamp that I'm catching though, because I'm not seeing many other people netting fish. They could just be using heavier elastics and swinging them, I suppose. So I'm just going to top up that 14.5 metre line again. So another ball, decent sized ball, plop that on the 14.5 metre line. Then I'm going to drop back on the 13 metre line and see if I can catch some more of them roach. So I'm laying the rig in and holding a tight line to see if I get any indications on the drop. There's no roach in this water. Well, in any water that's this kind of depth will come up in the water to your bait. I'm hoping at some point I will be able to catch shallow over this line. I'm really liking how this elastic's working. I can give it a good whack on the strike without fear of bumping any fish. It's a little bit too soft to swing most of the fish in. I don't really want to be swinging them anyway because of that early one I had fall off. So I can give it a good whack to set that hook. There's some cracking stamp roach. Between 3 and 5 ounce, I would say, most of them. The odd smaller one, the odd bigger one. And this line's really productive now. I'm having a real good run on it. Slippery little bugger. One a chuck. A lot of the people that are fishing here today are friends of mine that fish the canals all through summer, and they've switched to this type of fishing in winter because you get loads of bites. Great fishing it is. With laying the rig out, I've noticed I've added the odd indication on the drop, so I'm just going to try a shallow rig over the top. This one, I've set 2 shallow rigs up. This one's the deeper one. It's probably set at about 3.5 to 4 feet deep. I can go deeper, I can go shallow with this rig. And I've also got another rig that's set around 2 feet deep. So if they come right up in the water, I'll be able to monopolise on that as well. So I've just laid this rig in. It hasn't reached full depth and I've had a bite. So these fish are definitely wanting to come up in the water. It's still quite early in the match. So there may not be many up there yet, which is a bit obvious because I'm shipping back now without nothing on there. But it's something to bear in mind later on during the match. Keep putting them casters in and they will come up in the water. Now I'm going to go and have another look on the worm. Worm tail of a dandy. Not too big of a section because I don't want to single out the bigger fish. I want to catch anything on this basically. And a bigger fish will eat a smaller worm anyway. So that's on the top up on that line. Let's hope that some skimmers have turned up. Like I said, I've purposely not loose fed on this line. Just to see, just so as I've got 2 different areas of the peg where I'm doing 2 different things and I can figure out which is the best then. Not catching any skimmers on this line yet, but still catching roach, so I'm happy enough. Plus it gives that other line a bit of a rest. I'll just keep feeding it, and at some point I'm hoping I'll catch shallow. Just sticking a little nugget of ground bait in. Oh, swinging again, look. Noddy. Keep putting those casters in on the 13 metre line. Bring those roach into the peg. Throw in some short. And a few down the edge. And while I can get bites off both of these lines, I'll keep rotating them. I've learned my lesson about swinging, look. That's not too big of a fish, but I didn't want to risk it coming off again. Nice and steady. There's lots of perch in this pool as well, but I haven't had one yet. But I'm not complaining. Look at these lovely roach. Beautiful. I had the venue record off this pool earlier this year in February with 40 something pound. And that day I had a 2 to 2.5 pound perch in the bag. Beautiful. That day I also caught a lot of skimmers, between 6 and 10 ounce a piece. Lovely stamp fish, and it was one a bung. Every one a lift bite as well. Hence the reason I'm using a double bulk, because it shows up that lift bite a lot quicker. when you got all your shot bulk together. And here's the first of my skimmers. Happy days. So it has brought some into the peg eventually. We're about an hour and a half into the match now, and I've got my first skimmer. Not massive, but real weight builders these are. They weigh a lot more than they look. Another little nugget of ground bait. I haven't got to do anything with the hook bait because that's still okay. And hopefully we'll catch some more of them skimmers. Ship it out carefully so as I don't spill it on the way out. Turn the pot over, tap it out, and lay the rig over the top. And keeping those casters going in. And here's another one. Another nice skimmer. This elastic's working lovely as well. This Duraslip 5s. Like I said, when I first used it, I thought it was a little bit harsh for the fish I was fishing for, so I haven't used it since. And I've only used it this time because, like I said, I hadn't got no number 7s when I went to put some through the top kits. But I'm happy I hadn't got any number 7s now because this is bang on. So after 2 skimmers on that line, I'm back to catching roach. A little bit smaller fish, I suppose them 2 ounce a piece. Like the last 3 fish should go 6 ounce. With hindsight, I should have had another section out. I only got 14.5 metres of pole out. And I should have had at least the dolly butt out so as I could push past the bed of ground bait. Because the last time I was on here, I've caught the skimmers past my feed and I just never did it today. I don't know why. I've had a couple of looks on that short line and it's not really been any good. I've had the odd fish on it, but not any number of fish. So I've decided to put a little ball of ground bait in, game with the worms and pellets and casters in, and see if that'll attract anything in. And then back out to 14.5 metres on the worm. See if I can catch another one of them big roach. Keeping those casters going in on the 13 metre line. All the time I'm leaving it. Hopefully it'll be dragging more roach in. But it's nice that I can catch fish off this line as well. Okay, they're not skimmers mostly, but some of them are nice stamp roach. I miss 3 ounce plus. Beautiful. It's a good job I didn't hook a skimmer on that time out because my line had gone around my pot. I just managed, that's why I never never took the top kit off. I just shipped it back and lifted the pole up to netty. I didn't want to risk the breaking the hook length with me trying to swing it in. or trying to lift it to the net. Looking around the pool, I'm doing okay. Everybody seems to be catching a few fish. Neil Turner to my left's doing well, catching roach. He's not catching the stamp that I'm catching, but he's still catching as many fish, if not more. Well, I do seem to be having a better stamp of fish. And it's one a pung. Great fishing. Lovely. That's a bit smaller. A baby roach. Time to give that line a rest now.
Catch you now.
Drop a single caster on the SFLB. Hook it like a hook a worm, in through the top and out through the side. Leaves a little bit of the hook exposed, not much. I'm going to have a look on this. And back out to the 13 metre line. Checking all my sections. Lay the rig in. Holding a tight line so I can watch the rig go down. I'm using a 4x16 F1 maggot on this rig. It's quite a deep peg. Like I say, it's over 6 feet deep. I've got it quite strung out. Bit disappointed not to have any bites on the deck on this line this time. So I'm going to give it another top up and have a quick look on the short line, see if there's anything there since I put that ground bait in. It's about 6 inches shallower here than it is on a 13 metre line. So I've had to set up another rig for this line. Again, it's another F1 maggot in a 4x16. Laying it out, watching it go down. Keep throwing casters over the top. I'm keeping a few going in down that edge as well. Down that near side line. And there we go. There's a fish. Another quality roach. Putting that ground bait in short has definitely changed this line. It's definitely brought some more fish into the peg. Just loose feeding casters wasn't enough. Beautiful. No bites through the water though, them all on the bottom. This is a better fish. That lovely roach. I'm really enjoying this. Lovely steady days fishing. Going through 3 lines, catching fish. No bites on this line now, so have a quick look on this rig, which is, like I say, about 6 inches off bottom. And see if there's anything hanging about just off bottom out on the 13 metre line. And I've had a bite on the drop there. And he come off. Not a mark on the caster. So we'll ship it straight back out. See if we can get another bite doing it. Holding a tight line, letting it fall through the water. The carbon stem helps with the float following the rig down. You can see every indication on it. No bites this time. So we go back in on the deck rig. Lay it out, follow it down, see what happens. As soon as it hits the deck, we're into a fish. I've plumbed this rig up so it's just touching bottom. And there we go, there's another one. Lovely. Solid. Fish a chuck. Surprising how quick you can build a way to these fish up. I'm catching pretty quick here. Camp's dropping off a bit now. So we'll give it another ball of ground bait. Just going to top up this 14.5 metre line again while I'm not fishing it. While I'm catching so well on the other line, it's not going to hurt. Back out to the 13 metre line. Solid it is. The stamp does seem to be getting smaller though. Back on the short line. Keep him rotating. Then back out long again. Just the one fish on that line. I'll keep feeding it though, because at some point I'm sure it'll come good. Keep banging these roach out. There's another. So now I'm on the proper shallow rig, which is set at around 2 feet deep. I'd noticed a few indications as the rig's going through the water. So I've put my shallow rig on, my proper shallow rig on. Like I say, it's about 2 foot deep. And there seems to be a few fish right up in the water. I'll see if I can catch a few of them for a bit. And the stamp seems to be a lot better up here as well. The fish have come right up. This one's a better one. It's going for a swim, he is.
Said it was going to rain.
This is probably the biggest roach of the day. Up to yet anyway. And that Duraslip 5 is working like a dream. Look at that. Beautiful. I'm absolutely flying now. Catching a fish a chuck, and I'm catching them all between 18 inches and 2 feet deep. Slapping the rig over like you would for F1s or carp. That slap attracts all sorts. So I found sometimes it was better to slap the rig over like you would for F1s or carp, just to attract some attention, and very often it would go under. Sometimes it was better to just lay the rig in or lower the rig in. Other times it's better to slap the rig in. I've got this rig set so most of the shot is under the float, and I've just got 2 number 10 droppers, one above the hook length and one midway down the rig. Again, I'm using an 18 SFLB to 010 hook length. And the fish are proper up in the water now. Lots of roach there. That only lasted for a little while, so go and have a quick look on the 14.5 metre line while I let them regroup on the 13 metre line. Go and try and catch a skimmer again over there. Although I'm not catching any skimmers, I'm catching some half decent roach. So look at that. Lovely white building fish. Just the one fish on that line and back over shallow. With this ripple on the water, I'm expecting there to be a lot more fish there because it's cover. And it's proving to be right. It's definitely helping with this ripple on. I'm going to have a period now where I just fish this for a while and try and catch as many as I can. Because I feel like I'm putting a good weight together now. Wonderful. Back on the short line. Keep him rotating. Keeping those fish coming. Anytime I seem to slow down a little bit, I move to another line, let them have a bit of a chance to regroup. And it's easier when you can go onto another line and catch fish on that as well. Way up, this is a better fish. Ooh, look at that. Proper skimmer. Skimmer on the short line. Putting that ground bait in short definitely helped. We should have done it from the off, to be honest. Get in that net. It's the biggest fish of the day so far. Look at that. Going on for £2. Wouldn't mind a load of them now. On a single caster again. There's another one. Not so big, this one. Still welcome though. This is great fishing. Lovely. Look at that elastic doing its job. Not massive, but big enough. Back out to the 13 metre line, back shallow. Giving it a rest to group the fish up again. Keep plugging away. Bang. One a chuck. Now, while I was fishing shallow, I noticed a few bubbles coming up, and I thought, I wonder if some skimmers on the deck there. No, it wasn't skimmers. It's carp. And this one's nailed it. And it's decent fish as well. But I'm not particularly happy to be catching this. I don't want this. I don't want to be catching these. There is a carp pool going on, but I don't want to be catching them. That'll be one on middle pool anyway. I don't want to be wasting my time catching carp. I want to be winning my section with silvers. Now I'm pulling like mad here, trying to pull him off. And I can't seem to get him to break me. Although I'm only fishing fives and I know 10 hook length, and I'm pulling like mad, it's coming to me. I've got a great big spool of elastic at the side of me there where I've stripped out the side of the pole. And I'm not giving him an inch. And yet he won't come off. Surprising how big of a fish you can land on light tackle. You can see how much elastic I'm stripping out that pole. It's almost solid now, that is. And look how much bend there is in my top kit. It will not break. But all the time I'm wasting playing this, I'm not putting no silvers in the net. I'd be happier catching these any other time, except for when I'm on silvers match. I wouldn't be pulling so hard either, to be fair. I would be trying to land it. I'm not trying to land this fish. Still stripping. And it's nearly there. It's nearly done. He's having one last pull. Still pulling, still pulling. I'm thinking either come out or come off. I don't want you. I want to be catching roach and skimmers. It's just wasted time. I've just noticed there's a knot in my elastic. Where I've stripped it all, I've bloody put a knot in it. So I'm trying to undo this knot while I'm playing this fish. And he's done me. He's broke me. At long last. And there's elastic hanging out everywhere. Let's give it a right good stretching.
Dear.
I'm going to trim this down now, but I'm not I've got no intentions of going back on the deck out there again, because I just feel there's a lot of carp down there now, and I don't want to be catching them. So I'll drop that rig down and get back shallow. So I'll drop that rig down and get back on the short line. And there's my first perch of the day. Got to be 6 cents plus. That's 3 to 4 ounce. So there's another 10 ounce in 2 fish. Back out to 13 metres on the shallow line. Bang, straight back into fish. Before I went on this line, I went back and had a quick look on the 14.5 metre line and hooked another carp there. So I've decided to ditch that line and just fish these 2 lines now. 13 metres and just in front of me. I've also stopped feeding casts down that right hand edge because I feel I may not have enough to last me the match. Plus I've not had a fish there and I feel like I'm wasting my time there. So I'm going to monopolise on these 2 lines. Catch as much as I can. And it's absolutely solid shallow now. One a bung. And some of them are a cracking stamp. One a bung. Tried to lift him, I couldn't lift him. I've had to put the net under him. Great fishing. Look at this, it's great. Roach a chuck. Can't get in quick enough. And that's a skimmer shallow. I've pulled the rig down as well now. I'm fishing about 18 inches deep now. I'm right up in the water. That's a 4x10 F1 maggot, that float. Like I said, all the shots underneath the float, barring 2 droppers. I've started giving it a quick feed before I ship out. Put the rig out, slap it on the water, and then it's bang straight down the hole. Slap. Don't get a bite straight away, slap it over again. And there's a fish. Well, it's getting late on now, so I'm going to have a drop on the short line again and see if I can catch another one of them big skimmers before we finish. There's only about 5 minutes left of the match now. And there you go, there's another skimmer. That was the right move to make right at the end of the match. Drop on this short line. Another decent fish, this. And our elastic's working lovely. There we go. He's in the sprout bag. Beautiful.
That's how you do it, Zach.
Feel like I fished a really good match today. Got it bang on, I feel. I perhaps wasted a bit too much time on the 14.5 metre line trying to catch skimmers, but other than that, I feel like I got everything right. Match is nearly over now. Quick look, see if I can catch one more. And happy days. There's another. Right before the whistle. Get in there. And that's it. That's the end of the match. Finished off on a bream. Beautiful.
2 of them in the last 4 minutes.
What a day's fishing. And a great start to the league.
How many fish do you end up with? How many fish?
I've just asked Neil what he ended up
You
with.
usually count them, don't you?
He usually counts his fish, but he hasn't
I
counted
might
them
have
today.
3.5
He said he's got £2. I said I might have 3.5 then.
Not very nice, is it? Right, Dave. Fucking only just made it again.
Give the bag a bit of a wetting.
Fucking van to come in, so come up. Silver the door, because everybody else is saying that the door. I'm up for you. And then we got one. Really got one out. Oh, right now.
And get these fish out. And I've got a decent weight. Lovely net of fish. I hooked 5 carp throughout the match. I never got one of them out. 3 of them were foul hooks, 2 of them were hooked properly, and both of them broke me eventually. I didn't want to catch carp, I wanted to catch silvers anyway. Because I knew there's more carp to be caught on middle pool. There's a lot of F1s in there. There's no real amount of F1s in this pool. So I really wanted to concentrate on the silvers. And I've ended up weighing 26 pounds and 2 ounces. Fabulous day's fishing. And that's won the pool. Second on the pool was 14 pound. That was Neil Dale opposite me. And then Mal Bowden's had 10.14, I think he was, on peg 17. And then Neil to my left was fourth with £10.4. I reckon I've had £18 roach, mostly roach, one or two little perch, or one about 6 ounce, and then I reckon I've had £8 of skimmers. So all in all, a fabulous day's fishing, and that won me the pool. So a perfect start to the league. Happy days. I was only second in the match though. I missed out on winning the match by 6 ounces. That was a couple of fish I dropped off when I was swinging in. You never know. But I won my pool. That's all I could ask for. That's what I went there to do. So off to a perfect start. If you've enjoyed watching that, give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more like this, then please subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.